So first, Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria are circling each other's houses right now, right? If you're at war, right, these two dudes are on the beach waiting to go forward, and it's interesting. Dana White was on Full Send and said, hey, if Islam becomes welterweight champ, you immediately have a super fight. Ali Abdelaziz, Islam's manager, was on pound for pound. Yeah, it's called pound for pound. I cannot believe I was drawing a bank like that. Ali Abdelaziz is on pound for pound, and he says that had Belal lost, Islam was going to fight against Ilia Topuria. So essentially, all the things we thought leading into the Belal Muhammad Jack Della Maddalena fight was exactly what it was going to be. Had he lost, Jack Della Maddalena, we would have gotten Islam versus Ilia Topuria. So in that sense, when you hear that from his manager, you feel like it's not as far off as you may think whenever you see those guys kind of not being able to come to terms on that fight. Obviously, we know that there are some big fights in the UFC. I don't know that there's a bigger fight that the UFC can make that's going to be bigger than Topuria and Makhachev if they are to fight. Guys, Ilia Topuria is a massive favorite over everyone in the UFC except Islam Makhachev. And that in itself tells you what people think of Islam because of how highly regarded Ilia Topuria is right now, especially after becoming the UFC lightweight champion in the fashion that he did against Charles Oliveira. But Dana said it right away. If Islam becomes welterweight champ, you have a super fight. But what becomes of the promise Ilia had to make to the UFC to not move up to welterweight if he became the lightweight champion? There are a lot of things moving right now in the UFC, and a lot of it is centered around those two guys, right? You have one guy who defended the belt 4 times, has 5 UFC lightweight title wins, most in history, going up to 170 to try to become a 2-division champion in Islam Makhachev. You have another guy in Ilia Topuria who beat the 2 greatest featherweights of all time, moves up to 155, beats one of the best lightweights we have seen of this era in Charles Oliveira in 1 round, and everybody wonders what's happening with him. Paddy Pimblett walks into the cage. Arman Tsarukyan's still there. Now you hear the boss saying, you have a super fight, and what we know about the UFC is when there is a super fight, it's hard to turn away from it because not only does it bring the bucks, it brings the eyes. And that's a fight that I think would bring a lot of eyes to the UFC and the product. And I believe it would be a very good fight between 2 of the best mixed martial arts on the planet right now. Ilia is one of the greatest on the planet. Islam has proven to be the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. And that's been the case for a while now. I love hearing stuff like that. I love whenever we get those types of updates from the boss because I love when he's in a situation where he's super comfortable and he just kind of starts to talk. Because when he just starts to talk, you get stuff like this where he was talking about that, he was talking about the White House, he was talking about John Jones. I mean, he just was giving a lot because he was in a bit of a comfortable environment for him. But first and most importantly to me was the fact that we may not be as far from Topuria Makhachev as we may have believed initially when you hear his manager saying it was the next fight had one other thing happened, and the fact that you hear Dana White going, super fight's right on the verge if Islam becomes the welterweight champ.